After getting drunk, I held my sworn enemy tight in my arms. She took out an heirloom ring and slipped it onto my index finger. "You're mine now." The whole room stopped breathing. Miss Chi caught my wandering hand. "Wrong finger, husband." The whole crowd instantly erupted, because everyone knew Qingrou and I were sworn enemies. I hated Qingrou to my very core, but no one knew I'd been reborn. In my previous life, there was a fire that ruined my face and my voice. Everyone cast me aside and found me disgusting. But she held me and kept saying, "Chen, don't be afraid. I'm here." Only then did I realize that the one I hated most was the one who loved me most in this world. At the moment of death, she held me tight, her icy lips pressed to my ear, pleading softly, "Chen, love me, okay?" I screamed that I loved her, but she would never hear it again. The day I was reborn was right on the red carpet at the award ceremony. The woman was breathtakingly beautiful, resting against the car in regal grace. With one glance, the whole world held only her. I rushed across the red carpet toward her, heedless of everything, and the words "I love you" she never got to hear. I said it to her again. "I love you." The whole venue fell into shock, including the viewers watching the live stream, because everyone recognized the woman in my arms. Qingrou, none other than Miss Chi of Jingdu's Qi family. She was so noble she seemed out of reach, a woman everyone knew was dangerous, yet still one they'd willingly lose themselves to. In that instant, the noisy venue fell utterly silent. Only the camera flashes kept firing. Compared with the silence on site, the live chat comments were pure chaos. What is Shicheng doing? How dare he kiss Miss Chi? Is he really so desperate for fame he's lost his mind? First he hit Shiyibai before the livestream even started, and now he's forcing a kiss on Miss Chi. Have novels warped his brain? Does he think this will make him famous? Miss Chi of the Qi family is famously uninterested in men. Even Shiyibai is beneath her notice. Who does he think he is? Is he trying to get himself killed? I heard he and Miss Chi never got along growing up. Heh, this is about to get good. I don't care, damn it. He kissed my wife. Why doesn't he just die? Relax, Miss Chi won't let him off. Forget the audience. Even my friend and agent, Songyi, was so shocked his eyes nearly popped out. He was one of the few people who knew how bad things were between Qingrou and me. We were childhood friends, just not the close kind. Our relationship was atrocious. If Qingrou showed up anywhere, I felt like the air needed disinfecting, because I'd liked Momo since I was a kid. And Momo hated how Qingrou was everyone's darling. So I hated her by association, and hated Qingrou since childhood too. In that instant, Song Yi and everyone online thought the same thing. Chen had gone crazy chasing fame. Not far away, Shiyibai was still covering his face. His pupils contracted, but a mocking smile rose in his eyes. Now Shicheng even dared to provoke Qingrou. Wasn't he afraid that crazy woman would kill him? Qingrou's bodyguards exchanged glances. When I rushed over, they had wanted to stop me, but their third miss stopped them with a look. Had the Shi family's eldest young master changed tactics and switched to a new way of framing their third miss? Or had eldest young master Shi hidden poison in his mouth and planned to poison their third miss to death with a kiss? Yet no one's shock rivaled Qingrou's own. When Chen ran toward me, I thought he was trying to make a fool of me. I really wanted to see what this eldest young master, cast out of his own home, planned to do next. Before Qingrou could mock me, she saw me lower my eyes and pressed my lips right onto hers. In that instant, Qingrou's head rang. Stiffly, she thought, was Chen trying to bite my neck? Huh. He bit my lips instead. Should I say something and remind Chen he bit the wrong place? Huh. Qingrou, I love you. My voice was so faint it felt like the slightest breeze could scatter it. Qingrou's heart clenched instantly. Her fingers pressed to my shoulder and pushed me away. Her move thrilled the livestream viewers. Look, she's about to put him in his place. Qingrou lifted her eyes to look at me. My face was a storm of emotions, like I'd gotten back what I'd lost. Qingrou's heart tightened hard, just as everyone waited for her to slap me hard across the face. Qingrou only touched my cheek instead. What's wrong, Chen? What happened? What is going on? Shouldn't this Miss Chi, who's uninterested in men, be bringing down a slap right now? and knocking away this man who took advantage of her. Everyone looked at each other. The flashes kept firing. The live chat comments flew by. The viewer count kept climbing, until the feed lagged out and cut off. The stream cut out. Platform. Fix it now. If I miss Miss Chi hitting him, I won't sleep tonight. At that moment, in my eyes, the whole world fell away. My world held only her. My voice came out terribly hoarse. I missed you. My arms were still around her, my grip on her waist tightening, as if I were afraid she'd disappear. Qingrou. I missed you so much, really. Qingrou thought. Chen was calling me Qingrou. Could he have mistaken me for someone else? Qingrou fell silent for a moment, then abruptly lifted her eyes and looked around. The others sneaking peeks at the drama instantly turned away. Those looking at the sky kept looking at the sky, and those looking at the ground kept looking at the ground. Qingrou knew this wasn't the place to talk. She frowned and caught my arm, trying to make me let go of her waist. But her movement only made me panic, and I quickly held her even tighter. Don't go. Don't leave me, okay? I'll be good from now on. Really? Helplessness filled Qingrou's delicate face. I wasn't going to leave you. Get in the car. I didn't believe her, and clung to her stubbornly. I'm afraid if I let go, you'll disappear. This all feels too much like a dream too beautiful for me to risk letting go. Then what will it take for you to let go of me? Kiss me once. Qingrou, kiss me. Let me know you're real, okay? I had just kissed her, and it still hadn't felt real. Before she pushed me away, I really wanted to kiss her again. I wanted to feel the warmth of her lips, not like when they pressed to my ear, so cold as she begged me to love her. Qingrou pursed her red lips. That mouth of a Chen's has only ever known how to make me mad. What on earth got into him today? That suddenly he's this good at coaxing me. Is he trying to seduce me into making history in front of the whole internet, so he can mock me mercilessly later, with proof that I got taken in by a pretty face? Qingrou's red lips curved slightly. Too bad. Qingrou, have never been afraid of a honey trap. At that thought, Qingrou let out a soft laugh. Her slender fingers came to rest on my cheek. Then she lifted her head and hugged me. At the exact moment Qingrou lifted her head, the live stream snapped back to normal. In the shot, at the end of the red carpet, an exquisitely beautiful woman and a handsome man. That scene was so beautiful it looked like something out of a fairy tale, an embrace between a prince and princess. The impatient viewers had not even gotten a clear look before they started flooding the live chat comments. Holy crap, they really kissed. They really kissed. Oh my god. She did hit him. With her mouth. Hard. The trending list exploded across the board. Some people thought I'd gotten hold of something on Miss Chi and threatened her with it. Some thought I'd seduced her. Others thought I'd used black magic to bewitch Qingrou. But in the end, nobody thought Qingrou had genuinely wanted to kiss me. In the eyes of the netizens, Qingrou and I were parallel lines never meant to cross. One was up in the sky. Someone even made a vicious prediction. Just wait. Once Miss Chi comes to her senses, Shicheng is absolutely going to die horribly. If he does not die, I'll stand on my head, spin 360 degrees, and eat shit. While the internet was in complete chaos, in the roomy back seat, I was sitting beside Qingrou, looking at her with puppy eyes. Qingrou lounged there lazily, her slender fingers holding her phone. Utterly fed up, she hung up, the umpteenth call fishing for gossip, then simply turned it off. Only then did she turn to look at me. When she spoke, her tone was light but cool. Go on. Did you get amnesia? Or are your memories scrambled and you've mistaken me for someone else? I didn't mistake you. I hurriedly shook my head, instinctively reaching out to hug her. Qingrou's lashes trembled slightly. Don't hug me. Sit properly. I'd barely managed to coax him into letting go of me. And now he wants to hug me again. There is not even an audience now. A trace of displeasure crossed Qingrou's face. What kind of habit is this, trying to hug me every time he opens his mouth? Was he like this with Momo too? My reaching hand froze. The fingers that had already brushed her clothes drew back, and I looked at her with puppy eyes. To Qingrou, I looked so pitiful, like I'd been abandoned by her. Something was off. There was definitely something off about this sworn enemy of hers. Qingrou pressed her lips together, suppressing the doubt in her eyes as she asked, "You did not mistake me. Then do you know who I am?" I answered firmly, "You're Qingrou." Then I added softly, My Qingrou. Qingrou's heartbeat instantly fell out of rhythm. She suddenly pressed the back of her hand lightly to my forehead and said thoughtfully, "A fever must have fried your brain." Her hand was a little cool, and for some reason it made me think of how cold her embrace had been at the very end. I clenched my fist and said softly, "I do not have a fever." Qingrou withdrew her hand, crossed her arms, and looked at me haughtily. "HMPH. Go on. What scheme have you come up with to mess with me this time?" Qingrou suddenly thought of something. "If I remember right, the Shi family has a banquet tomorrow. I heard that crazy woman Momo already bought a ring and will most likely propose to Shi Yibai herself. The He family and the Shi family also seem to want to continue the marriage alliance. I was kicked out of the Shi family a month ago because Shi Yibai was kidnapped and nearly killed, and all the evidence pointed to me. My parents were utterly disappointed in me and publicly announced they were severing ties with me. My engagement to Momo was cancelled because of it too." Qingrou let the smile fade from her face, and the look she gave me turned even more distant. "Shicheng, you are not trying to use me to make Momo jealous, are you?" Before I even got out of the car, I saw Chen hit Shi Yibai. For a second, I was rattled. Chen has always had a bad temper, but he had never been this reckless in public. At the time, I thought Chen had lost control because of Momo. I rushed out of the car to back him up. Who knew I was only giving him a chance to mess with me? Thinking of those two light kisses, Qingrou's gaze turned almost icy. "Shicheng, for Momo's sake, you really can go all out. Should I just throw this idiot out of the car?" I asked her in confusion. "Who is Momo? I do not know her." Qingrou went silent for 2 seconds, then reached out and tapped Wenjing on the shoulder as she drove. "Go to 10th Hospital. The psychiatric hospital." Wenjing fell silent for a moment. "Yes, third miss." Then, without any hesitation, she turned the wheel and drove straight toward 10th Hospital. I frowned deeply. This is bad. Qingrou might really think I have lost my mind. By now, I had already snapped out of the days of rebirth and knew for certain that I was truly back. But if pretending to have amnesia would make her trust me, I could do that. I do not care about any of those people anyway. I only care about my Qingrou. In this world, she is the only one I need to remember, and the only one I need to love. Qingrou murmured softly in my ear. "I am giving you one last chance. Tell me honestly what you are really trying to do. Otherwise, once you go into 10th Hospital, do not even think about coming back out." The car was dimly lit. I turned and looked at her cool, distant eyes. Before I was burned in my previous life, I once thought her gaze was cold too. Like the ice-cold water of an ancient pool that never thawed. Only later did I learn that boiling lava lay beneath that frozen pool. Her love burned so fiercely it could make even icy water boil. My tone stayed calm as I said softly, "I am not trying to do anything. I just realized how ignorant I used to be, and I want to make it up to you." "And how do you plan to make it up to me?" She sneered, her red lips curling slightly. "Shicheng, do you think I am stupid? Do you need me to remind you how, when we ran into each other this morning, you spoke to me?" I was completely baffled. Why are we suddenly dragging up ancient history? That was ages ago. Let me think. I thought hard for quite a while before I remembered. I really had run into her this morning. She was coming out of the elevator as I was going in. I said to Songyi beside me, "What is that smell?" At the thought, my eyes flickered. Qingrou let out a soft laugh. "Just look at that guilty face of yours. Looks like you remembered." The next second, I looked at her with clear, innocent eyes, as if I truly remembered nothing. "Number. I really do not remember. What did I say to you then?" She reached out and twisted my ear hard. "Shicheng, stop standing there playing dumb with me. I am not buying that act." I rubbed my ear and asked lightly, "Then what does work on you, Qingrou?" Qingrou gave a light huff. "I am not buying any of it." Before she even finished speaking, I leaned a little closer to her. Qingrou snapped back to herself and pushed me away. She spoke through gritted teeth. "Shicheng, if even that is not enough, then do whatever you want." "All right." Wenjing, who was driving, perked up her ears. "Good grief. Of course that sounds good." Qingrou's gaze drifted uncontrollably onto my face. The word yes was already on the tip of her tongue, but when she finally spoke, what came out were 3 gritted words. "In your dreams." The starlight in my eyes shattered at once. I drooped my head to show how unhappy I was. I cannot let a Chen fool me. Did he really think this was enough? She quietly leaned back, putting a little more distance between us. Her voice carried a hint of jealousy even she did not notice. Who taught you all this? He Momo, Shicheng. I frowned and said, I already told you. I do not know Momo. Why do you keep bringing her up? Who is she, anyway? Besides, everything I know, you taught me. Momo does not even like me. Qingrou was almost out of patience with me, and said in irritation, Shicheng, how long are you planning to keep this act up? My mood sank. Everything I am saying is true. I only love you. Why will you not believe me? Why was Qingrou so hard to win over at this point? I thought that as long as I confessed to her, she would accept me. Could it be that she had not fallen for me yet at this point? Qingrou stared at me for a few seconds, her eyes narrowed in a teasing way. You do not know Momo? I nodded. Yeah. Qingrou curled her lips and said with quiet resentment, and you only want to love me. I nodded hard again. Qingrou seemed to think of something and let out a sly laugh. Fine. It is not like I cannot believe you, but you have got to prove it to me. How do I prove it? I batted my eyes at her and gave a cheeky grin. Qingrou, do you think just getting close is not enough? Do you want to spend a little more time alone with me? When Jing nearly lost her grip on the steering wheel, that young master from the Shi family was really something. Our third miss is so innocent. Can she even handle him? Sure enough, Qingrou's little face was even redder than my earlobes. Luckily, she still managed to keep her composure on the surface. She called my name through gritted teeth. Shicheng. I looked at her with an innocent expression. Qingrou held back the urge to throw me out, and lightly poked my forehead with her fingertip. Take all those messy thoughts in your head, and put every last one away. Only then did I reluctantly hold my tongue. Qingrou took a deep breath to steady her emotions. Then she spoke and instructed Wenjing. Back to Shicheng Hotel. Right. Shicheng Hotel belongs to the Qi family, and it is also the hotel hosting today's award ceremony. After the ceremony ends, the hotel will hold a celebration banquet. The reason Qingrou agreed to attend today's award ceremony was because the Qi family was hosting it. Of course, the most important reason was that she knew I would be there. I only went to Shicheng because I was afraid a Chen would get bullied. No good deed goes unpunished. This bastard doesn't deserve my kindness. Qingrou ground her teeth as she looked at me. When Jing respectfully turned the car around, I asked in confusion, what are we going back for? Qingrou leaned back against the seat, resuming the lazy posture she had when she first got in, but her tone carried a trace of mockery. Of course it is to give you a chance to prove yourself, and show me how sincere this so-called liking of yours really is. I frowned slightly. I still remembered my previous life. It was at the celebration banquet at Shicheng Hotel that I was set up. When I woke up, I was lying beside Qingrou, with the whole place a sordid mess. I was completely shattered back then. My first reaction was to drive Qingrou away. She had even calmly said she would marry me, and I coldly told her to leave. If I remember correctly, that drugged glass of wine was handed to me by Momo herself. In the dim light, I looked toward Qingrou. Her delicate little face was especially captivating. I used to be influenced by Momo, and always thought Qingrou was pretentious and hard to approach. Only later did I understand. It was not that I did not want to get close to her. I was just afraid to. By the time we returned to Shicheng Hotel, the award ceremony was still in progress. The people who could not be bothered to watch the awards had all gathered in the banquet hall where the celebration banquet was being held, and plenty of rich young masters and heiresses were there to join the fun. But the atmosphere felt a little off right now. Everyone kept glancing, openly or not, in Momo's direction. After all, the simp who had chased her since childhood had run off with her sworn enemy, and that enemy was Qingrou, who outclassed her in every way. So the rich brats did not really dare fool around at that moment, for fear of setting Momo off. Momo was indeed in a foul mood. She leaned back in an armchair, irritably scrolling through her phone. The video of me kissing Qingrou was on the trending list, and she watched it over and over. The more she watched, the more she wanted to kill me. She tossed her phone aside and coldly said to the person beside her, have someone pull these topics off the trending list. The person beside her was her best friend, Sujian, who was also looking at the trending list. When she heard that, Su Qian looked a little surprised. Why pull them? Do not tell me you cannot bear watching people tear Shicheng apart anymore. Momo shot her a glare. What good does it do me to watch him get trashed? Su Qian clicked her tongue. It does not do you any good. But it is good for Shi Yibai. The worse Shicheng's reputation gets right now, Su Qian could not help remarking, the better it is for him. So why are you getting so worked up? Momo glanced at her. What do you know? She frowned. Is it not because Shicheng's temper is too awful? I am only doing this so Shicheng understands. He should not think that just because he is the Shi family's eldest young master, he can throw tantrums in front of me. Momo took a light sip of red wine. He needs to see his place clearly and learn how to please me. Besides, the Shi family has already thrown him out. In the end, he can only come to me. When that time comes, would he still dare throw a fit with me? So yes, I am only teaching him. So all these years, the warmth you showed Shi Yibai and the coldness you showed Shicheng were all just you teaching him, so he would be more obedient. What kind of world-class piece of trash was this woman? She was so stunned she almost rolled her eyes. But aren't you planning to corner Shi Yibai into marrying you tomorrow? Momo replied at an unhurried pace. My husband will only ever be Shicheng. Su Qian was truly speechless. After a long pause, she reminded Momo. But right now, he does not seem to have come back to you. He went to Qingrou instead. Momo toyed with the glass at hand. Better not let this backfire and cost you more than you gain, and end up training someone else's husband for them. That only means he still has not been disciplined enough. He is still not obedient enough. He probably heard that I am going to propose to Shi Yibai tomorrow. So after hitting Shi Yibai, he went to Qingrou, thinking that would make me change my mind. She let out a sneering laugh. Shicheng really did not think this through. Qingrou knows he is my simp. Do you think she would even give him the time of day? He is only setting himself up for embarrassment. Momo took a sip of wine and said casually, relax. It will not be long before he comes crawling back and begs me. Only a few seconds after she said that, the heavy doors of the banquet hall were slowly pushed open. Everyone in the hall looked over, and their expressions froze for a beat. A woman radiating pure authority walked in at an unhurried pace. Then they saw me walking in beside her. Momo shot a pride at once. Her eyes locked on me. Qingrou smiled at Momo, then laced her fingers through mine. The two of us sat down on an empty sofa. I did not know whether Qingrou meant to do it or not, but we ended up sitting directly across from Momo and her group, with more than 10 meters between us. The banquet hall fell silent for a moment. Momo called out in a sweet, petulant voice, Chen, come here already. Qingrou gave a radiant smile and leaned lazily against the sofa back, then said gently, do you want to go over there? As she spoke, she kept toying with my hand. I shook my head and said in a puzzled tone, I don't know her. I am not going. Everyone heard that, including Momo. Momo puffed out her cheeks. Shicheng, I am giving you one more chance. Get over here now. Qingrou's eyes glinted with mischief. She pouted and leaned close to my ear. Shicheng, were you not going to prove that you love me? Her warm breath made my heart pound like thunder. She gave a soft little huff. So, do you dare? Right in front of Momo. Kiss me. The moment she finished speaking, she saw my eyes light up. Qingrou suddenly had a bad feeling about this. Sure enough, the very next second, I kissed her without hesitation. Sharp gasps rang out all around us. The banquet hall went even quieter. How dare he? How many times has that been today? Even if he really wants to provoke Momo, is he not afraid he is pushing too hard and driving Momo completely over the edge? A woman's mocking laugh sounded nearby. Qingrou snapped back to herself. Missy, what exactly are you trying to do? Qingrou flicked a glance over from the corner of her eye. Momo was already on her feet, probably about to head our way. But another woman blocked her. The one stopping Momo was Qingrou's friend, Wanwan. When Qingrou came in, she and her girlfriends had wanted to come over, but when they saw me following behind her, they decided to hang back and watch a little longer. She had already seen the trending list, and only regretted that she had not witnessed the drama in person. She had not expected front row drama here. Even while Wanwan was shocked, she was still keeping an eye on Momo. Sure enough, without a second thought, Wanwan stepped right in front of Momo, as if she would let Qingrou's big moment Be ruined by that lunatic Momo. There was no chance of that. A mocking curve tugged at Momo's lips. Move. Wanwan gave a cold snort. You tell me to move, and I am supposed to move. Do you think I have no pride? Momo said angrily, cheeks puffed up. I will say it again. Move. Wanwan shrugged, wearing a wicked grin. Nope. I am not moving. What exactly are you going to do about it? Huh. Momo's brows drew tight. She raised a hand and pointed at Wanwan's face. You. Wanwan stepped back. Stop pointing that finger at me. I hate being pointed at. The atmosphere turned tense in an instant. No one else even dared breathe. Only then did I understand. So this was what Qingrou meant by proving it. She did not believe I loved her. She still thought I was using her. She thought I would not dare kiss her in front of Momo. Bet she did not see that coming. I was more than willing. Qingrou looked at the scene and said softly, Enough. The room went dead silent at once. More than a dozen people looked at Qingrou. Qingrou spoke softly, a trace of mockery in her voice. Don't make a mess of my place. The others instantly felt like cold water had been dumped over them. After all, this was Qi family territory. If trouble broke out here, the consequences would be endless. Someone looked toward Momo, silently asking what to do next. Momo kept her eyes locked on me. An idea flashed through Suqian's mind, and she called out to me. Shicheng, can you not see someone is bullying Momo? Why are you not coming over to help? Everyone turned to look at me again, including Qingrou. So he really does want to keep acting in front of all these people. I kept my head down, pretending I had not heard Suqian. Qingrou pursed her lips. Was I too harsh just now? Momo had reached the end of her patience. From the moment Chen walked into the banquet hall, he had not even spared me a glance. He was never like this before. Back then, as long as I was around, his gaze always followed me. She suddenly felt panic, as if something were slipping out of her control. Momo spoke through gritted teeth. Shicheng, if you are done making a scene, come here. I can let today slide. Listening to her tone, like she was granting me a favor, I looked up at her. It was the first time I had looked at her all night. I looked for 2 seconds. Then I got up and walked toward Momo. The displeasure in Momo's eyes faded, and a hint of smugness rose in its place. I knew it. Shicheng really was just trying to provoke me and make me jealous. Everyone looked at each other, but no one said a word. They only instinctively stepped aside when I walked over. Wanwan hesitated for a moment. I can block Momo. But I have no reason to stop Shicheng. She rolled her eyes at Momo, then shook her head helplessly, and stepped aside. This man's taste is terrible. How is Qingrou any worse than that brat from the He family? Qingrou's cheeks puffed out a little. She pressed her lips tight, and looked away instead of at me, her toe tapping lightly against the floor, as she forced down the urge to drag me back. I say one slightly harsh thing to you, and you pull a face. Someone else talks to you like that, and you still go running right over. You big idiot. After all these years, I should be used to it by now. It was only because of Chen's act today was too perfect that it made me lose myself for a moment. I actually let myself feel a little happy, thinking that Chen had finally seen me. Forget it. I will treat this as the last time I help him. Qingrou rose, looking forlorn, without looking at me again, and turned to walk outside. She had only taken 2 steps when she heard an uproar behind her, mixed with Momo's incredulous shout. Shicheng. Qingrou turned back and saw Momo pointing at me, asking in disbelief, Say that again. You do not like me. You think you're too good for me. I turned and looked at Qingrou with a bright smile as I asked, So that's Momo? I already told her. I am not interested in her. Tell her to stop stirring up trouble for no reason. Qingrou, is that okay with you? Could Chen really have amnesia? When she did not answer, my eyes darted around, and an idea hit me. I reached out to her, pretending to be in pain. I think my leg is cramping. Qingrou, come help me. The banquet hall was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Qingrou silently watched me for a few seconds. Then, under everyone's gaze, she walked toward me. She stopped in front of me. Without saying a word, she directly pulled my arm over her shoulder and supported me. I looked at her with starry eyes, smiling brightly. Momo lifted her eyes with gritted teeth. She glared at us fiercely. Qingrou, where are you taking Chen? He is mine. You. I had a bad feeling. If I let Qingrou take Chen away, I really would lose him. Qingrou only tilted her head and looked at her. Coldness spread through her eyes, but her lips curved in a pleased smile. From now on, he is mine. Chen chose to walk to me himself. So, whether he really has amnesia or he's using me, he will have no chance to regret it. Qingrou smiled radiantly. She supported me as I willingly followed her up. She left without hesitation. Qingrou still took me to 10th Hospital. Not for any other reason. She just wanted to see whether Chen really had something wrong with his head. After we got in the car, I could not help leaning toward her. Qingrou only said one sentence. Sit properly. My mouth twitched. Qingrou, do you not like me hugging you? Qingrou, you're so cold to me now. Mean woman. Qingrou leaned back against the seat. She asked lightly, were you this clingy with Momo too? Like you had no bones at all. Always leaning all over people. I frowned hard and muttered under my breath, why do you keep bringing her up? Qingrou turned to look out the window. She could not be bothered to answer. Do you think I want to keep bringing up Momo? You were hung up on Momo for so many years. Did you really forget? When we got to the hospital, Qingrou had people arrange a full checkup for me, covering practically every department, even psychiatry. I was speechless. If getting checked would set Qingrou's mind at ease, then fine, I would get checked. The other tests were fine. But when it was time for the psychiatric evaluation, I had to answer a lot of questions. No matter what the doctor asked, I said I did not know. Only when he asked about Qingrou did my eyes light up. After the full evaluation, the doctor looked conflicted. In the end, he wrote 73 characters on the diagnosis report. Then he handed it to Qingrou, who was waiting outside. With a slightly strange smile, he placed the report in Qingrou's hand. Do not worry. He is mentally normal. There is no major problem. Just this tiny little issue. I followed behind the doctor, so the doctor knew Qingrou too. The doctor looked back at me and smiled. Then he turned to Qingrou and said, I am still busy. You to carry on. I quickly thanked him. Thank you. After watching him turn and head back to his office, I finally walked over to Qingrou. I asked her with an innocent look, what did the doctor say? Qingrou glanced at the report. With a conflicted look, she handed it to me. See for yourself. I took it. At a glance, I saw the diagnosis at the bottom. No organic illness found in the physical or psychiatric examinations. Emotional state affected by relationship issues. Cognition normal. I was a little confused. What does that mean? Qingrou let out a sigh. It means you are hopelessly love-struck. I nodded, looking overjoyed. That doctor really has a sharp eye. Qingrou read through the whole report, her feelings a tangled mess. There really was nothing wrong with his body. If he was deliberately pretending to get close to me, then what exactly was Chen after? If it was not because of Momo, what else could make Chen throw caution to the wind and come to me on his own, after hating me that much? If he was not pretending, then could a person really change overnight? Qingrou could not help reaching up and feeling around my head twice. No bump. Then she asked me tentatively, when you got into the elevator this morning, did the doors catch your head? I looked at her, utterly speechless. You could make the sarcasm a little more obvious. I asked her helplessly, why can you not just believe that I really do like you? Qingrou withdrew her hand. Her eyes met mine. What do you think? If it were you, would you believe it? Fair point. I had not believed Qingrou truly liked me either. Not until that fire. I answered seriously. Actually, I have liked you all along. It is not like I only fell for you today. Qingrou's lashes trembled lightly. A trace of confusion crossed her face. All along, I spoke with complete seriousness. I just did not dare get close to you before. You were so wonderful, and always so cool toward me. I always felt I was not worthy of you. My voice held a hint of dejection. Qingrou's brows drew together. She was angry and amused at once. Shicheng, do not play the victim after starting it. You were obviously the one who was always cold to me. I immediately started arguing back. That was because I loved someone I could not have. Love turned into resentment. Qingrou clenched her teeth even tighter. Sweet talk will not work. Do not think about changing the subject. My mouth twitched. Hey, can you not let me win for once? I am making a serious confession here. Qingrou fell silent for a moment. She forced down the irritation in her heart. Then she turned to leave. I stood still, watching her back. She showed no sign of stopping, so I called out to her. Qingrou. Qingrou stopped there and turned to look at me. I blinked. My tone softened. Qingrou. My leg hurts. The moment she heard that, Qingrou knew I was trying to act shameless again. She gave a light snort. Then stay put. Go or don't. I don't care. After saying that, she turned to leave again. I stayed right where I was. I did not say another word. Qingrou was just about to reach the elevator. She closed her eyes for a moment. Then she turned back without hesitation and walked straight back to me. She gritted her teeth and hissed in my ear. Shicheng, I must have owed you in my last life. I gave a cheeky grin. I draped a hand over her shoulder, leaned in, and brushed a light kiss to her cheek. Then I whispered, No, I'm the one who owes you. My Qingrou. Some of the irritation in Qingrou's heart eased. She gave a cold little snort. If you owe me, shouldn't you be the one carrying me? Have you ever seen a debtor strutting around in front of the creditor? I answered her with complete seriousness. Normally, it is never easy for a creditor to collect a debt. The bigger the debt, the harder it is to collect. So the creditor has to coax the debtor and stay by his side. Only then can the debt be paid back little by little. Qingrou gave a light huff. You really do have plenty of twisted logic. I leaned close to her ear again and whispered, I owe you an enormous debt. So, you have to stay with me for a lifetime. That way, I will have a lifetime to slowly repay it to my Qingrou. All right, a whole lifetime. The two of us walked into the elevator. She lifted her eyes and stared at me hard. Shicheng, do you know what a lifetime means? Of course I do. I held her gaze. Then I answered, one word at a time. A lifetime means never leave each other and grow old together. Qingrou and I now lived in the same apartment building. She was upstairs. I was downstairs. After I was thrown out of the Shi family, I had nowhere to go for a while. Sonyi was the one who rented me a place. I only found out later that the building actually belonged to Qingrou. She had secretly arranged for it to be leased to Sonyi at a low price. Qingrou walked me back home. Can you really not let me stay at your place? Qingrou only shot me a look. Show some restraint. I could only mumble a no. Then I headed home, looking back every few steps. Qingrou stood by the elevator, watching me with open disdain. I went inside reluctantly. Once she made sure I had shut the door, the disdain on Qingrou's face instantly turned into delight. The corners of her lips lifted, then she pressed them back down. What a night this had been. Her emotions had been surging nonstop. Even now, Chen's words in the hospital elevator, never leave each other, grow old together, were still echoing in her ears. But it still did not feel real. Could all this be a dream? I had no idea my actions and my words had suddenly unleashed the feelings she'd buried for years. God knew how hard I had to hold back just now to keep myself from taking Chen home with me. Qingrou cast one last look at my tightly shut door. Then she turned and went upstairs. She went into the bathroom to wash up. Suddenly, a sharp sting shot across the back of Qingrou's hand. She cried out in surprise. The cup in her hand slipped and fell. She raised her hand to look. There was not a mark on her skin, but the pain was still there. Qingrou turned off the tap. Then she left the bathroom. She sat down on the sofa. Her gaze stayed on the back of her hand. The pain was slowly easing. Qingrou leaned back against the sofa and closed her eyes. Just then, the doorbell rang. She opened her eyes. At a glance, she saw that annoyingly smug face on the video doorbell screen. Qingrou let out a helpless sigh. Can Chen not let me relax for once? Then she gave a self-mocking little smile. Forget it. Had she not been hoping he would come to? Qingrou walked over and opened the door. She said helplessly, Shicheng, do you know what time it is? Seeing I was still wearing the same clothes as before, she thought, what had he even been doing all this time after going back? I stood in the doorway, pathetically holding out my hand to her. Qingrou. Maoqiu scratched my hand. The scratch across my hand was especially obvious. Qingrou stared fixedly at my wound. Her heartbeat seemed to stop for a moment. Wasn't that exactly where she'd felt the pain just now? Could it really be that much of a coincidence? She came back to herself and asked me, did you treat it? I shook my head. I don't know how. Qingrou frowned. You raised the cat yourself, and you do not know how to treat a scratch. That was true. Maoqiu was my cat. I had raised him for years. When I left the Shi family, he was the only one I took with me. I answered as if it were only natural. But I have never been scratched by a cat before. Isn't it normal that I would not know? Qingrou could not be bothered arguing with me anymore. She grabbed my wrist and pulled me into the room. A smile flickered through my eyes. Qingrou suddenly turned back. My face instantly fell. In a flash, I looked pitiful again. What is it? HMPH. Your acting really is excellent. Qingrou thought to herself. She pulled me into the kitchen, turned on the tap, held my hand under the stream, and let clean water rinse my wound. I flinched slightly. The wound stung when the water hit it. Qingrou held my hand and fell silent for a moment. A vague sense of dread rose in her for no reason, because in that instant, the back of her own hand also felt a faint twinge of pain. She stared hard at my wound. The scratch was not very deep. It had only barely broken the skin. There was only the faintest trace of blood. She took a slow breath and forced down the strange thought. Qingrou said, I will have someone come over later to give you a rabies vaccine. I nodded. At that moment, the two of us were standing very close. The moment I lowered my head a little, I saw her small face with its tightly furrowed brows. I lowered my head and looked at her, whereupon brows and eyes. My heart stirred. Qingrou grew uncomfortable under my stare. She casually tugged her clothes closer. I shot her a look. Stingy. Qingrou was silent for a moment. Then she asked me curiously, why would your cat scratch you? You have had that cat for years. Why would it suddenly scratch you? And he was a tomcat I personally took to be neutered. I muttered under my breath. I do not know. I think there is something creepy in my apartment. Qingrou was a little speechless. Chen was getting more and more outrageous. He could make up absolutely anything. I kept going, looking at her with total seriousness. Maybe he saw something. That is why he went crazy. Qingrou, I really do not dare go back now. He is vicious now. The second he sees me, he goes berserk. To be honest, I really was a little guilty. It felt like Maoqiu had noticed something was off about me. Qingrou silently listened to me make things up. So, I looked at her with hopeful eyes. So, can I stay here for one night? Qingrou leaned closer and looked at me. Chen, how am I only just finding out that you are this shameless? I swore solemnly. Everything I said is true. If you do not believe me, you can come downstairs with me and see for yourself. Qingrou looked at me for a few seconds. Then she suddenly remembered that strange pain. She nodded. All right. After saying that, she walked toward the living room. That should be enough rinsing. Dry your hand first. I will disinfect it for you. She took out the medicine kit. Holding my hand, she dabbed a cotton swab in some iodine antiseptic and applied it to the wound. The instant it touched, a sharp sting flared in my hand. Qingrou's grip on the swab tightened. That eerie sensation of sharing my pain was becoming clearer. She looked up at me. I nodded and said, just a little. Qingrou knew perfectly well it was only a little. She took a deep breath and threw the swab away. Come on, let us go check your place. When we got downstairs, the moment the door opened, I immediately hid behind Qingrou. Qingrou turned back to look at me helplessly. This is your own home. What are you hiding for? I gave her a complicated look. He really is vicious. When I got home just now, Maoqiu was curled up asleep on the sofa, a fluffy little ball. I sat beside him and stared at him in a daze for a while. My fingers gently rubbed his fluffy head. I had not seen him for a very, very long time. In my last life, in that fire, Maoqiu did not make it out. Then suddenly, he woke up. First, he rubbed his head against my palm. But just as he was about to jump onto me, his round eyes suddenly went wide. He practically puffed up and went berserk in an instant. I did not have time to pull my hand back, and he clawed a scratch across it. I scrambled to my feet and backed away. Maoqiu arched his back, staring at me viciously. He looked ready to pounce. On instinct, I ran upstairs, straight to Qingrou's place. Now the door was open, and the lights inside were still on. Seeing that I did not seem to be lying, Qingrou headed into the living room first. The moment she stepped through the entryway, she saw the long-haired cat in the living room. He was pacing in circles on the floor. Qingrou turned her head and looked at me in disbelief. This is your idea of vicious. I was just about to speak when Maoqiu heard the sound and looked over. The cat that had been happily playing a second ago, instantly puffed up again. He arched his back, bared his teeth, and lunged at me. I instinctively grabbed Qingrou's hand. On reflex, I stepped in front of her. I said helplessly, "See, just like that." Maoqiu made as if to charge over. Qingrou pulled me aside out of the way. In a cool voice, she snapped, "Maoqiu, stop." I clutched Qingrou's hand tightly. "He is a cat. Can he even understand you? We should get out of here. Tomorrow I will have someone take him to the vet." Just then, Maoqiu looked at Qingrou. He clearly froze for a moment. Then the ferocity in his eyes actually vanished. Even his puffed-up fur smoothed down in that instant. It was as if he had seen a long-lost family member. He rubbed against Qingrou's leg, meowing softly, looking spoiled and clingy. Qingrou thought he looked a little like me. She let out a soft laugh. Even her voice turned gentler. "He seems pretty obedient now," I said in exasperation. "This ungrateful turncoat Maoqiu." I raised him from a tiny kitten. "How could he treat me like this?" Qingrou smiled. "All right, let go of me first." I held onto her hand and refused to let go. Qingrou turned to look at me. I leaned in close to her. I lightly kissed her cheek. Then I pulled back. A flicker of dissatisfaction passed through Qingrou's heart. That idiot Chen stole another kiss from me. Qingrou bent down and picked up the cat rubbing against her leg. She sat down on the sofa, then settled the cat on her lap. Her fingers stroked over Maoqiu's head. She lowered her eyes and carefully checked whether anything was wrong with him. Maoqiu was very docile in her arms. He lay there quietly, letting her pet and inspect him. I stood nearby, watching the now docile Maoqiu, then started to walk over. But when I had only gotten within 3 steps, Maoqiu suddenly lifted his head and bared his teeth at me. I froze on the spot. Qingrou frowned. She lightly tapped Maoqiu on the head. "Why are you being so fierce?" Maoqiu let out another meow, then slumped back down, all the fight gone out of him. Only those eyes stayed fixed on me. They were still not very friendly. Qingrou lifted her eyes to look at me standing not far away. I looked utterly dejected. I checked him. "There is nothing wrong with him," I said glumly. "Then why is he acting like this toward me? It is like he does not even recognize me as his owner anymore." Qingrou lowered her gaze. "Maybe the problem is not the cat. Cats are extremely sensitive animals. What had Chen done to make it so uneasy?" The thought made her heart start racing. Qingrou set the cat down on the floor. She gave him a light pat, telling him to go play somewhere else. Maoqiu refused to go. He jumped right back onto the sofa, then curled up beside her. Qingrou paid him no mind. She looked up at me. "Shicheng, come here." I sat down beside her, a little puzzled. "Qingrou, let me see," I asked in confusion. "See what?" At that moment, she was sure. The man sitting beside her was a Chen. She looked at me, a little flushed. "A Chen? There is no one else here now." I did not catch the implication in her words. And then, Qingrou slowly leaned toward me. In a slightly husky voice, she asked me, "Do you still want to kiss me?" Her breath was sweet. Her lips were very close as she spoke. They were almost brushing mine. My breathing hitched, because I could clearly see the care and seriousness in her eyes. I knew that look well. In my last life, she looked at me like that too. After that day, the related footage leaked, just when everyone was guessing about my relationship with Qingrou. Someone else leaked that Qingrou and Jingdu's second young master Su were about to get engaged. The two families had already settled it before the new year. Muhe even posted on Weibo, pointedly saying that wrongdoers bring about their own ruin. Everyone understood that he was talking about me. For a while, the backlash against me turned vicious, even though the topic was quickly pulled from the trending list. Muhe also deleted the post and apologized. Qingrou personally posted on Weibo to clear things up, saying she was the one actively pursuing me, and that she had nothing to do with Muhe. But by then, almost no one was willing to believe it. I was hemmed in by public opinion. The pressure was crushing. Even my parents were cold toward me. Momo was even worse. The way she looked at me was full of distance and rejection. I was in agony during that time. There was nowhere for all that pain to go, so I could only take it all out on Qingrou. She looked at me like that back then. Back then, I mistook that concern for malice. It was only much later that I understood. The resolve and tenderness in her eyes were feelings she had buried for years. She had already been in love with me for a very, very long time. Qingrou saw me suddenly go blank. pressed her lips together lightly, and asked, "Do you not want to kiss me anymore?" I snapped back to myself and instinctively wrapped both arms around her. "No." "Then kiss me." Her voice carried an unconscious note of surprise. "I'm offering myself up for a Chen to kiss." Her words made my ears burn, but in that instant just now, I suddenly thought of what happened in my last life and knew I had to clear this up first. I reached out and gently pushed her back. When she looked at me with faint annoyance, I asked her directly, "Are you and Sumyu getting engaged?" Qingrou froze. "Who is Sumyu?" I looked helpless. Actually, she had already explained this to me last time. She had nothing to do with Sumyu. Her family really had arranged for them to meet once before, but she turned him down on the spot. It was just that Qingrou, and I made the trending list today. And now everyone was guessing about our relationship, even though no one set me up this time. If things followed the course of my last life, then tomorrow news about Qingrou and Sumyu getting engaged would shoot onto the trending list. Sumyu would post about it again too. So this time, I had to deal with it first. I could not wait for public opinion to snowball and then try to fix it. People these days mostly do not want to believe a clarification after the fact. I shot her a look and reminded her. Second young master Sumyu, came back from abroad before the new year. Didn't you two go on a blind date? And you're still saying you don't know him? Come to think of it, that time Qingrou met Sumyu on that blind date, I happened to run into them. At the time, the two of them came out of the restaurant's private room side by side. I glared at Qingrou from afar, grumbling to myself, why do I run into her everywhere I go? And with some handsome guy at that. It really rubbed me the wrong way. Only now did I realize I had been jealous. So that was when she was on a blind date. And now she was pretending not to know who he was. I immediately tried to pull away. Qingrou said gently, Chen, be good. Then, as if she had suddenly realized something, she said, Oh, you mean second young master Su? That made me even more jealous. You sound pretty close. You call him second young master Su. And me, you use my full name, huh? Qingrou said helplessly. Everyone calls him that. I did not even know his real name. If I did not call him that, what was I supposed to call him? Sumyu went abroad when he was little. He has only been back a few months. He is not familiar with the young masters and ladies in Jingdu's elite circle. I only met Sumyu once. So I really did not remember his name. I just knew everyone called him second young master Su. As she spoke, Qingrou rubbed her little face against my chest. Her voice tinged with a smile. Besides, if calling him second young master Su counts as intimate, do you want me to call you eldest young master Shi from now on? She left me speechless. Eldest young master Shi really did sound awful. Forget it. I let that go. Still puzzled, I asked her. Then what happened on that blind date with him before? Qingrou puffed out her lips. Meeting him once makes it a blind date? I sighed. My grandmother really did ask me to meet him once before. But before I went to the restaurant, I did not know it was him I was meeting. Once I got there, I turned him down immediately. That was pretty much the same as what she told me in my last life. I frowned slightly. What about your family then? Of course they respected my wishes. The Qi family never needed a marriage alliance in the first place. Of course my parents put my wishes first. Besides, my grandmother arranged it back then. My grandmother and Sumu's grandmother were close friends when they were girls, though they drifted apart later. But Sumu's grandmother was the one who brought it up first. I only went to meet him once for my grandmother's sake. That hardly counted as some planned marriage alliance. I fell silent and thought. Then they really had nothing to do with each other. I let out a breath of relief. I still had to stop Sumyu from posting on Weibo. How was I supposed to do that? Qingrou looked at me, slightly puzzled. Why does a Chen seem stranger and stranger? Even though I am sure he is a Chen, something still feels off. She tilted her head and glanced at Maoqiu, still curled beside her. Its gaze at me was still unfriendly. Qingrou pouted at me. That happened ages ago. You even glared at me back then. Did you think I did not notice? Why bring this up all of a sudden now? Her little face was full of displeasure. Are you trying to reject me? So you came up with this lousy excuse to brush me off? Shicheng, so you can't keep pretending anymore. I looked at her. My voice softened. I am not pretending. Then prove it to me. Qingrou moved closer to me. Chen, come a little closer. If Chen will not kiss me, then I can just kiss him instead. I can't hold back anymore. He was the one who came close first anyway. I had just started to say something, When Qingrou slowly leaned toward me, the tip of her nose almost brushed my cheek. My heart stirred. The gentleness she showed now was different from the forcefulness of my last life. In my last life, there was almost never such tender closeness. The cat that had been curled up beside Qingrou suddenly grew restless again. It rubbed and scratched at Qingrou's leg. Qingrou turned to look at the cat making a fuss beside her. I looked at it too, but the moment our eyes met, it instantly turned vicious. Qingrou, clearly displeased, softly rebuked it. Maoqiu. The cat let out a meow. It sounded pitiful. I felt a little uneasy. I said to her, Qingrou, I do not want to stay here anymore. Qingrou could tell something was off with me. She took my hand and started to leave. Seeing that we were leaving, the cat lightly jumped to the floor and tried to follow. Qingrou stopped it with a single look. It gave a meow and flopped back down. It looked at me pitifully. It really was my cat. That look was uncannily like mine. Qingrou ignored it. As the door closed, I looked back at the cat in the living room. Maoqiu was so resistant to me, and it even stopped Qingrou from getting close to me. Was it because Maoqiu could sense that I was not the same as before? Qingrou took me back to her room. I was still muttering by her ear. Told you it was fierce. Qingrou looked at me and said, Then, what do we do? Should you stop keeping him? As she spoke, she headed for the kitchen. I frowned at that. I had raised Maoqiu for a full 4 years. Someone gave it to me as a birthday gift. Back then, I did not know who sent it. The card left at my door said, Happy birthday. I asked around, and still could not find out who sent it. Back then, my friends even laughed at whoever gave it to me for sending a cat that looked so ordinary. They had all forgotten that I had loved cats since I was little. The cat I kept as a child, after Shibai came to the Shi family, was sent away because he was allergic to cat fur. Now I already know Maoqiu was a gift from Qingrou. I cannot bear to give him up. But with things the way they are now, maybe it really is not right to keep him anymore. I watched Qingrou's back as she poured water, and my eyes lit up. How about this? I will live here with you from now on. Songi can stay downstairs, and he can look after Maoqiu for me. Once Maoqiu stops rejecting me, I will move back then. Qingrou turned around with a glass of water, looking at me with a sly smile. Then why not just send the cat to Songi's place? I lied with a perfectly straight face. Maoqiu is territorial. If he moves somewhere new, he will not eat well or sleep well. He will get sick. Qingrou's lips curled faintly. She handed me the cup. So, you are not attached to places. I took the cup and drank a sip. I do not. I only get attached to people. I flashed her a bright smile. As long as you are there, I will eat well and sleep well. I will be good as gold. Qingrou's voice was soft and lovely. Shicheng. I met her eyes. You are like a different person. It sounded like a joke, but my gaze flickered at once. Even the hand holding the cup trembled on instinct. I forced myself to stay calm. What? Your imagination is way too wild. A strange panic rose in me. I do not care. I am staying here. You are not allowed to drive me away. I was afraid she would notice something. After saying that, I turned to head back to the living room. But the instant I turned, she caught my hand. Chen used to always keep me at arm's length. His eyes only ever held Momo. Every time I saw Chen looking happy at Momo's side, I always wanted to ask what he even liked about Momo. I was clearly no worse than her. No, I did ask. When Momo pushed him away again, I asked him like it was a joke, what exactly he liked about Momo. He might as well like me instead. I was obviously no worse than Momo. But he said, I do not feel that way about you. All these years, I kept thinking, if Chen gave me even 1/10,000th of the tenderness he gave Momo, I would have felt so happy. And now, it was like a beautiful dream had suddenly come true. Chen was right in front of me, saying he loved me, saying he wanted a lifetime with me, saying he wanted to come close to me on his own. But only a few seconds later, a voice suddenly came from the door. Someone opened the door and came in. Before we even saw who it was, we heard the voice first. What happened so late at night? Why did you call me over to give you a rabies shot? The voice abruptly stopped, followed by a startled, oh. The instant I heard that voice, I scooped Qingrou up and carried her into the kitchen. Wanwan stood in the entryway, watching to living, breathing people vanish right in front of her. She had seen very clearly what Qingrou had just been doing. Oh ho, this was nothing like that little moment in the banquet hall. Well, who would have thought? I cannot believe I just got the gossip firsthand on Qingrou. Just then, Qingrou walked out. She shot Song Wanwan an eye roll. Song Wanwan smiled suggestively. Ha, I did not see a thing. You to carry on. Pretend I was never here. With that, she happily turned to leave. She even thoughtfully shut the door behind her. Leaning against the door, Song Wanwan let out a breath. Heh, this is way too exciting. The elevator chimed. Liang Shangshang stepped out carrying a medical kit. She spotted Song Wanwan at once. She asked in confusion, "Why are you standing out here?" Then she glanced at the door behind her again. Does Qingrou really have a dog at home? Song Wanwan thought for a moment, then nodded. She said meaningfully, "Not just a dog. There is a cat too. They are fighting right now. Do not rush. Let them finish, then we will go in." Liang Shangshang's eyes widened at that. Inside, I walked out of the kitchen. "Still want to continue?" I said, utterly speechless. "And you still want to keep going?" Qingrou's eyes curved into a smile. "This is enough to make you shy. Earlier, in front of all those people, you did not seem shy at all. How is that the same? Back then, it was out in the open. Now it is just the two of us at home, and someone walked in on us. Aren't you embarrassed?" Qingrou really did not understand how my mind worked. She only found it a little funny. She took my hand and gave it a little shake. "Aren't we being close openly right now? Or are we sneaking around?" I lowered my voice and said with total certainty, "I think we really are sneaking around." Qingrou laughed in exasperation at my logic. "So, Shicheng, you do not want to go public with us?" As she spoke, the light in her eyes dimmed. Chen really still had no plan to make our relationship public. Was he still just putting on an act to fool me? I shook my head. "Not me. You. After all, whenever I openly tried to get close to you, you always acted reserved and pushed me away. In private, though, you're very proactive. Isn't that what not wanting to go public looks like?" I turned my head and looked at her. "Look, when we are outside, you will not even let me get close. Count it yourself. How many times did you reject me in public today?" Qingrou had not expected me to turn the blame around like that. "This morning, the moment you saw me, you looked annoyed. By evening, you were suddenly acting completely differently and moving close on your own. How was I supposed to make the first move?" Qingrou really did laugh in exasperation. She directly hooked her arm through mine. Tilting up her face, she looked straight at me. "So, what you mean is, I should call them in now and continue what we were doing in front of them?" "Fine." Before I could say anything, Qingrou nodded. After saying that, she let go of me. I froze for a second. When I turned, she had already walked into the living room. She had not actually believed I would keep this up in front of Song Wanwan. But I did not stop her from opening the door either. After all, leaving people outside the door was pretty rude. I picked up the water from earlier and finished it. Qingrou had already opened the door. "Come in." Liang Shangshang was clearly still confused. She had not figured out what Song Wanwan meant by that mysterious talk about cats and dogs. She glanced at Song Wanwan's strange expression, then poked her head in curiously, medical kit in hand. Then she looked at Qingrou. "Wanwan said the cat and dog at your place are fighting. Since when did you start keeping them?" Then she saw me in the living room. Only then did she realize what Song Wanwan had meant. Only then did Song Wanwan, still outside the door, let out a laugh. Then she followed her in. This time, when she saw me, her smile was especially bright. "Hello, brother-in-law." The three of us all looked at Song Wanwan at the same time. Liang Shangshang stared at her in disbelief. Her eyes asked, "You are calling him brother-in-law already?" Song Wanwan shot a look right back at her. "What do you know? It is obvious Qingrou is serious." Song Wanwan clearly won that silent exchange. Liang Shangshang obediently followed suit and greeted me too. "Hello, brother-in-law." Honestly, being called that by both of them all of a sudden, I was a little embarrassed, but I still answered politely. "Hello." Qingrou looked at me with a gentle expression. She was clearly very pleased with what they were calling me. "You to sit for a bit first." As she said that, she walked toward me. Song Wanwan did not think much of it. She pulled Liang Shangshang over to the sofa and sat down. Liang Shangshang asked curiously, "Sister Qingrou, do you need a rabies shot too?" She suddenly tugged at Song Wanwan's hand. Then she gave a strange little cough. Song Wanwan turned and saw the two of us pressed close together. She instantly covered her mouth. You let us in just to watch you to act all lovey-dovey, huh? We are some seriously bright third wheels here. The two of them stiffly turned and looked at each other. Clearly, both of them were stunned by Qingrou's move. Do you still think I just do not want to go public now? I shook my head hard. Not anymore. You are really incredibly open about it. A trace of shyness flashed across Qingrou's face. If that still is not enough, then we can go to the living room too, right in front of them. I abruptly covered her mouth. Terrifying. This woman really was just as unpredictable as in my last life. Enough, really, enough. Qingrou held my gaze for 2 seconds. I felt something warm and soft brush against my palm. I pulled my hand back on instinct. I gave in completely. I think I should get the rabies shot first. Qingrou took my hand and led me toward the bathroom. Take a shower first. After the shot, you cannot shower. I froze for a moment. But I do not. Qingrou seemed to know what I was about to say. There are new toiletries in the bathroom. As for your change of clothes, I will go downstairs and get them for you. She went into the bathroom and got everything ready for me. Go shower first. As soon as I bring them up, I will hang them on the door for you. I nodded, then reminded her. Then bring a few extra clothes up for me too. Qingrou smiled softly. Okay. Then she turned and left. She left the space to me. When she returned to the living room, the two sitting side by side on the sofa were both looking at her with strange expressions. Qingrou paused. Then she looked back at them as if nothing was wrong. What are you looking at? Liang Shangshang shook her head with a smile. Song Wanwan raised a brow and clicked her tongue. Qingrou, I did not know you had this side to you. Well, it was rare for Qingrou to feel shy in front of her friends. It is fine. You will be like this till once you get a boyfriend. Song Wanwan pouted. I am not like you, okay? Qingrou walked outside. Her tone turned teasing. So the one from the Zhang family is different too, huh? Good. Then I do not need to tell you where he is. Song Wanwan immediately scrambled up from the sofa. She trotted over to Qingrou and wheedled. Qingrou, you have news about Zhang Fan? Qingrou said with a smile. Wanwan, are you not different? Why do you want news about him then? I am just like you. Qingrou, my sweet Qingrou. Tell me where he is. Qingrou had already reached the door. She stopped and gave her a meaningful look. Gangsheng, go find him. Song Wanwan schooled her expression. Then she said seriously. Thank you, Qingrou. After saying that, she left. She did not waste a second. Liang Shangsheng, still on the sofa, was silent for a moment. Then she asked doubtfully, is that one from the Zhang family really in Gangsheng? This afternoon, the moment he arrived in Gangsheng, I got the news. Still, after saying that, she looked at Song Wanwan as she stepped into the elevator. I heard he went to Gangsheng with his girlfriend. Liang Shangsheng frowned. Then what about Wanwan? Qingrou's tone stayed calm. If she can win him back, that is her own ability. If she cannot, then she needs to face reality. After all, she was the one who drove him away in the first place. She cannot blame anyone else. After that, she dropped the subject. Then she said to Liang Shangsheng, sit for a while. I will go downstairs and pack a few things for Shicheng. Liang Shangsheng sighed softly. Then she nodded. Okay, go ahead. Qingrou had just opened the downstairs door when the cat came rushing over. It meowed over and over, rubbing against her legs for attention. Qingrou bent down and rubbed its head. Then she asked softly, why are you so mean to a Chen? The cat could not answer her. It only rubbed its head against her palm. Qingrou sighed softly. She patted its head. Acting cute with me will not help. Tomorrow I will have someone come trim your claws. After saying that, she headed straight for the bedroom. The cat followed right behind her. The upstairs and downstairs had the same layout. She found the master bedroom with practiced ease. She pushed the door open and switched on the light, then went straight into the walk-in closet. Qingrou looked at the closet, at the few scattered pieces of clothing inside. Her delicate brows drew together slightly. She had never seen a Chen wear the same outfit twice before, but the few times she had seen him this month, he seemed to be wearing the same few clothes every time. Qingrou picked out a set of pajamas for me. When she opened the drawer and saw the underwear inside, she blushed bright red. She grabbed a few at random and tossed them into the bag. Then Qingrou happened to notice a small black velvet box. I had seen that box before. A few days ago, Song Yi and I were at the styling studio. I was asking Song Yi beside me, Is it too simple? Too cheap? Will she like it? Songyi rolled his eyes. Even if you gave her something more expensive, she might not like it anyway. Besides, look at the situation you are in now. With things as bad as they are for you now, the fact that you still wanted to buy her a gift is already enough. I sighed and said, yeah, true. Then I saw Qingrou. I immediately looked away. Qingrou did not hear what I had muttered, but she could roughly guess. It was probably nothing nice. Qingrou knew the thing inside that box was meant for exactly one person. An indescribable emotion drove her to pick up the box. Her fingers trembling lightly, she opened the lid. Inside lay an exquisite hair clip. There was also a folded note tucked beneath it. Qingrou pressed her lips together. She carefully pulled out the note. Momo, happy birthday. Qingrou's heart sank to the bottom. Even though she had already known, it still hurt unbearably now. If I remember right, Momo's birthday was 3 days ago. Why had Chen's gift not been delivered? Qingrou closed her eyes. Why did you really suddenly choose me? Did Momo hurt you so badly that you chose me as a substitute? Holding back the tremor in her fingertips, Qingrou put the box back. She gathered everything and turned to leave. When she returned to the bedroom, the sound of running water in the bathroom had not stopped yet. Qingrou hung the bag on the door. Then she knocked. The water stopped almost at once. My clear voice came from inside. Qingrou, is that you? Qingrou replied. There was an uncontrollable note of disappointment in her voice. I hung your clothes by the door. Get them yourself in a bit. Okay. I answered. I will be done in a minute. Qingrou said softly. No rush. She still wanted to say something, but in the end, she only lowered her eyes and turned to leave. Not long after, I came out of the bathroom. I sat down beside Qingrou and had Liang Shangshang give me the rabies shot. Qingrou watched from the side with a frown. When the needle went into my arm, that slight sting made her brows knit too. Qingrou's gaze flickered. Liang Shangshang had already felt she could not stay any longer. Single as she was, she keenly sensed something was off in the air. So after explaining the precautions and the time for the next shot, she hurriedly excused herself. I looked up at Qingrou. Our eyes met. Qingrou, what is wrong? I asked in confusion. Something was off with Qingrou's mood. She had clearly been fine before I went to shower. Qingrou did not answer. Chen. I looked at her. What is it? She wrapped her arms around my neck. Leaning close, she whispered in my ear. Do you want to marry me? I was a little stunned. Marriage. Still close to my ear. We can make the engagement official right now. By right now, you mean? I was a little dazed. You mean deciding our whole future right now? And getting the marriage certificate first thing tomorrow morning? Qingrou whispered against my ear. Chen, do you want to marry me? I suddenly felt dazed. Marriage. Qingrou brought it up many times in my previous life too. At first, I was cold to her. Later, after I became like that, I wanted it even less. After that, Qingrou never mentioned it again. She just stayed by my side in silence. But in the drawer of her study, I had seen a pair of custom diamond wedding rings. I had secretly taken one out and tried it on. It fit perfectly. My silence made Qingrou's breathing stop. The room was so quiet, even a heartbeat sounded loud and clear. There was a hint of disappointment in her voice. Chen, do you not want to? Of course not. I'd be thrilled to. Qingrou finally dared to meet my eyes. Qingrou, I'm so happy. I hugged her and spun her around in place. Qingrou, I really like you. I really want to marry you. Qingrou's heart clenched. If she had not known since childhood how much Chen hated her, if she had not just seen that undelivered hair clip from a couple of days ago, she really would have believed him. You big liar. Who says Chen is bad at acting? But even knowing it was a lie, in that moment, Qingrou still accepted it as if it were something sweet. She pouted. Chen, remember what you just said. If I find out you lied to me, I could not help asking. Then what? Then I'll cling to you. Never leave your side. And stick to you every single day. Her. My heart thudded hard at that. She was really becoming more and more like the Qingrou I knew. Just when Qingrou thought her words would scare me off, I flashed her a bright smile. Okay. Then I asked curiously. But you said we're making the engagement official right now. It's almost the middle of the night already. How are we supposed to prepare for that? As long as Chen is willing. There is always enough time. Qingrou made a few calls. About an hour later, bags stuffed with all kinds of clothes and accessories had filled the living room. Pouting a little, she said apologetically, "It's all because it's too late right now. Tomorrow I'll have them send more over. These were all custom made to your taste. Pick one and try it on for tomorrow's photos." I let out a confused "oh." Qingrou changed into a white dress in the room. From those bags, I picked out an outfit from the same line as hers. They looked exactly like a matching set. The doorbell rang. Qingrou leaned close and gave me a light kiss. I looked at her, a little amused. "Go answer the door. Once we're married, we'll have plenty of time." Qingrou nodded in agreement. Then she turned and went to open it. At the door were the wedding planners and staff from the couture shop. When the staff came in and saw the two of us, their curiosity instantly flared. Before coming over, they'd been complaining, wondering who was dragging people out in the middle of the night and insisting on wedding prep at this hour. The three of them could not help wondering, why rush the marriage this much? Could it really be like the online theories said, that Shicheng had something on her, something he could use to keep Miss Qi bound to him? The next day, when we registered and took photos at the Civil Affairs Bureau, the staff clearly recognized us. Their eyes were blazing with gossip. The two of us sat shoulder to shoulder. Qingrou looked at me and suddenly said, "Wait." I looked at her in confusion. "What is it?" The staff's hearts jumped into their throats too. "Here it comes. Miss Qi is regretting it." Watching this unfold in person was thrilling. Qingrou gently straightened my tie. "It's a little crooked. Let me fix it." I smiled softly at the gentle, lovely woman in front of me. "Better now." Smiling, Qingrou brushed a quick kiss against my cheek. "All fixed." I turned to look at the staff and met their stunned, excited eyes. I gave an awkward smile. The staff smiled back at me. They are so sweet together. My heart cannot take it. Internet rumors really cannot be trusted. Qingrou's cheeks flushed slightly. She sat back down and naturally looped her arm through mine. Then she said to the staff member taking the photo, "All right, go ahead." The staff member looked at the two of us through the camera, eyes shining. "I saw these two on the trending list today and thought it was all heavy retouching and filters. But in person, their looks hit you right in the heart. My girlish heart can't take this." Soon, 2 red marriage certificates were placed in our hands. In that instant, Qingrou felt dazed. "Chen is my husband now." She stroked the booklet with trembling fingers, then turned to look at me, seeing me staring blankly at the marriage certificate in my hand too. Qingrou pressed her lips together lightly and could not help wondering, was Chen feeling more happy right now, or more annoyed by it? As we left the Civil Affairs Bureau, Qingrou took the gift bag she had prepared and gave them to the staff. "You are too kind. It was the least we could do. Congratulations to Ms. Qi and Mr. Xi on your marriage. Wishing you lasting love and a long, happy life together." Qingrou's expression softened even more. "Thank you." When we got home, Qingrou saw that I was still lowering my head to stare at the marriage certificate in my hand. "What are you looking at? Chen is not still upset, is he?" But I looked up at her happily. Qingrou froze for a moment as she looked at me. I asked her at once, "Can I post on Weibo?" Qingrou looked a little puzzled. "Weibo?" I waved the marriage certificate in front of her. "I want to post this on Weibo and make it official. Can I?" The moment Qingrou said we should get married, I thought of it. Wasn't this the best solution? As long as I posted our marriage certificate first and made our marriage official, wouldn't that settle things with Muhe? Qingrou truly had not expected that I would be willing to make it official. "Of course." She sat down beside me. Then I suddenly frowned again. "But I do not have my phone. My phone is with Songyi, and he has always managed my Weibo account too." Qingrou's eyes curved with a smile. "Then I'll post it." She took a few photos of the marriage certificate, then logged into a Weibo account she had never used before. It did not take long before the trending list exploded. "No matter when, no matter through every meal and every season, we'll grow old together and never part." She attached photos of our 2 marriage certificates. Everyone was still talking about it, and Qingrou gave the most direct answer possible. I looked at the Weibo post she made, my gaze shifting slightly. Then something occurred to me, and I said, "Your parents still do not know we got married, right?" Qingrou let out a soft laugh. "Husband." I instantly blushed and my heart raced. Qingrou let out another soft laugh. "Husband." I instantly blushed and my heart raced. Qingrou laughed softly. "Instead of thinking about that, you should think about something else." I asked in confusion. "Think about what?" "You should be thinking about whether we'll stay in the living room and chat tonight." or go back to the bedroom and rest separately? I asked, baffled. Is there really any difference between the two? Qingrou blinked. You can decide. I thought about it, then naturally took her little hand. Then let's go back to the bedroom and rest. Qingrou nodded. Back in the bedroom. Qingrou sat on the edge of the bed and looked at me. Chen, I think we still need time to adjust to each other. We are already married, so I am not in a hurry. I can slowly wait for Chen to truly fall in love with me. How was I supposed to know what she was thinking? I wore a mischievous grin. I don't need time to prepare, but I need time to adjust. Chen, give me a little time, alright. Alright, let's sleep. Once the lights were off, the room went completely dark. Only the soft sound of our breathing remained, rising and falling. I thought I would lie awake all night, but with Qingrou's scent around me, I quickly fell into deep sleep. But Qingrou, listening to my breathing, could not sleep at all. She was terrified that when she woke and opened her eyes, she would find that this had all been a beautiful dream. Just then, she heard me talking in my sleep. Momo, don't. Qingrou went rigid in an instant. The burning warmth in her heart turned ice cold at once. I jolted awake from the dream, my whole body drenched in cold sweat. My first reaction was to reach for my face with trembling hands. No scar, no rough, uneven skin either. My breathing slowly steadied. In that moment, I truly almost thought my rebirth had been a dream. Phew. It wasn't a dream. I kept my eyes closed and calmed down for a long while, before opening them and looking beside me. Qingrou wasn't there. I sat up and looked at the clock nearby. It was only 6:30. Why was she up so early? I was not going back to sleep either. I threw back the covers and got out of bed, then pulled open the bedroom door. On the balcony off the living room, Qingrou was standing with her back to me. I walked over and wrapped my arms around her from behind. Why are you up so early? The person in my arms stiffened slightly, then turned around a few seconds later. Why didn't you sleep a little longer? She wrapped both arms tightly around my waist. Seeing how pale she was, I asked in confusion, did you sleep badly last night? Qingrou didn't answer. She looked up and met my eyes. What about you, Chen? Did you sleep well? At that, my mood darkened a little. I shook my head. Not really. Qingrou pressed her lips together lightly. Why? I rubbed my temple. I had a nightmare. Qingrou looked at me and asked softly, what kind of nightmare? I frowned deeply, not knowing how to explain it. I dreamed that after I went home, that day in my previous life, Momo was already there waiting for me. The moment she saw me come in, she started arguing with me. I said that glass of wine was the one she handed me, but she said that was impossible. Momo threw whatever was at hand at me. Momo, don't. At that thought, my arms around Qingrou tightened on instinct. Qingrou patted my back and comforted me. It's nothing. It was just a nightmare. But Qingrou wasn't that easy to fool. She could feel how stiff I was. Now that she thought back to what I'd said in my sleep, even my tone had seemed full of raw panic. At the time, though, she'd been blinded by jealousy and possessiveness, so she hadn't thought much of it. Qingrou called my name, her voice trembling. Chen. Qingrou asked me in a husky voice. Did Momo do something terrible to you? I didn't understand what she meant. What? Qingrou lifted a hand and gently stroked my face. Did Momo do anything to you? Her question dragged me back to my previous life again. I suddenly didn't dare look at her. No, that was all in my last life. And in that life, she got what was coming to her. As for now, Momo doesn't have a chance anymore. Qingrou's pretty face was full of displeasure, afraid I'd see it. She took a deep breath and forced her emotions down. Good, that's all that matters. Qingrou buried her face in my chest. After a while, she suddenly asked me, the Shi family is holding a banquet today. Chen, do you want to go? That instantly pulled my attention away. Shi Yibai's celebration banquet. I do not really want to go. I do not want to see the Shi family. They are worse than strangers to me. Qingrou looked up at me. If you want to go, Chen, I will take you. I asked in confusion. For what? Qingrou smiled with a slightly willful air. Of course, to watch the show. I flashed a cocky grin. Sure. Come to think of it, the Shi family has probably already tried to reach me by now. It is just that my phone is not with me, and the Shi family would not dare come to Qingrou's place and make a scene. That is why I have had peace until now, with no one bothering me. But sooner or later, we were bound to meet. The banquet was at noon. It was still early, After we had breakfast, Qingrou went to the study. The trending list was in an uproar. Her phone was nearly wrung off the hook, but she turned it off and ignored it. When she turned it back on, she called back her parents who were traveling the world, then replied to a few friends from her social circle. I went back to the room and took another nap. When I woke up, I changed into the couture suit Qingrou had sent over, and let the stylist waiting to the side do my hair. Qingrou sat off to the side with her phone, typing the whole time. I had no idea what she was doing. After we finished getting ready, I stood up and said, "Qingrou, as your husband, am I handsome?" At the sound of my voice, Qingrou looked up. She put away her phone, stood up, and walked over to me. Smiling, she nodded. Then she changed into a matching couture evening gown. After her hair and makeup were done, I looked at her with burning eyes and bent down without thinking, pressing a light kiss to her cheek. My Qingrou is so beautiful. Standing there together, Qingrou suddenly felt a little regret. She did not want Momo seeing such a handsome Chen. No, I should take a Chen out and show him off. Everyone else would die of jealousy. A Chen is my husband. A few stylists nearby practically squealed. So sweet, such a perfect match. Qingrou's eyes curved even more when she heard that. She looked up at me. Did you hear that, Chen? Everyone thinks we are the perfect match. I lifted a hand and gently ruffled the top of her hair. My tone held a tenderness I had never shown to anyone else before. You're meant for me alone. I took the chance to clasp her hand tighter. At that moment, I felt like I had finally broken free of every shackle from my past. In the past, I endured everything. I hid my edge at every turn. I never wanted attention. I was used to keeping a low profile, staying out of the spotlight. But in that moment, I wanted to be as public as possible, to stand beside my girl and tell the whole world how much I love her. Qingrou's cheeks flushed at my blunt declaration of love. Then let's go out right now. I want everyone to see that my husband is the best. I nodded and let her lead me out of the living room. The moment we stepped outside, we came face to face with someone hiding around the corner of the hallway. Momo, lurking there and spying on us. She was dressed in an exquisite outfit, with her makeup done to calculated perfection. But her gaze was glued to me, full of resentment and obsession. Before this, she had schemed at every turn, secretly driving a wedge between Qingrou and me, spreading rumors, and viciously smearing Qingrou, even secretly setting traps to split us apart. She tried to force her way to my side and seize everything that should have belonged to Qingrou. How did she still dare show her face in front of us? When she saw Qingrou and me with our fingers laced together, our eyes full of tenderness, Momo's face turned deathly pale. The last bit of hope in her eyes shattered completely. In its place came fierce jealousy and venom. She stepped forward. Chen, are you really going to be with her? How am I worse than her? I have done so much for you. Why have you never seen me? Before I could speak, Chen is my husband. His heart has only ever held me. All your scheming and obsession were wrong from the very beginning. I reached out and drew Qingrou back into my arms. The warmth vanished from my eyes at once, replaced by bone-deep coldness. What you did was not devotion. It was evil. I looked at Momo, enunciating every word. You spread rumors about Qingrou, secretly schemed to frame her, and tried to drive a wedge between us. You even bribed others to maliciously slander our relationship. I know every last detail of it. I never pursued it before, because I did not want Qingrou stained by filth. That did not mean I tolerated your malice. Momo's face turned completely ashen, but then staff rushed over and cut her off. The people she had bribed to spread rumors for her all came forward and confessed the full truth. The evidence was ironclad. Every one of her schemes was exposed. Her carefully managed public persona completely collapsed. Her reputation was ruined. All the connections who once clung to her scattered. For her selfish obsession and vicious schemes, she paid a bitter price. She ended up abandoned by everyone, with no one sorry to see her fall. I lowered my head and looked at Qingrou in my arms. It is over. The trouble is dealt with. No one can disturb us anymore. Qingrou looked up at me. Chen, there will not be any more of this awful mess from now on, right? Her eyes shimmered like starlight. I answered solemnly. Yes, for the rest of our lives. There will only be peace, security, and fulfillment. A few days later, our wedding arrived right on schedule. The venue blazed with flowers, and warm sunlight spilled across the entire grounds, gentle and magnificent. Everyone who had once treated us kindly and sincerely wished us well was there. There were friends who had quietly supported us all along and stepped in to help when it mattered. There were gentle, kind elders who had watched us every step of the way. And there were strangers we had once helped, their hearts still full of gratitude. Every face wore a sincere smile, and every pair of eyes was full of blessings. I stood there in a perfectly tailored suit, at the end of a sea of flowers, my gaze burning, quietly waiting for my bride, when Qingrou, in a pure white wedding dress, slowly walked toward me. My whole world was filled with tenderness. Everything else faded into the background. She alone was the only light. Step by step, she came toward me. Her eyes held starlight and were brimming with love. I stepped forward and took her hand. My voice was gentle but firm. In the past, I weathered every storm alone. I saw the world's cruelty and tasted all its warmth and coldness. I thought the rest of my life would be ordinary and lonely. Until I met you. You taught me tenderness. You gave me someone to care for. You taught me what it means to cherish one person above all others, and what it means to be whole. Today, I take you as my wife. From this day on, year after year, morning and night, I will keep you safe, show you all my tenderness, and cherish you for life. Never leave your side, and never fail you. Qingrou's eyes reddened slightly. For all the long years ahead, I want only a Chen beside me, staying together year after year, leaning on each other through it all. Thunderous applause erupted below the stage. Well wishes rose one after another. Warm and jubilant, I lifted my hand and slipped the ring onto Qingrou's finger. Then I pulled my bride into a tight embrace. Warm sunlight fell across our faces,